Chronic persistent pain, unless it's caused by malignancy or an infection that's not been treated or a fracture that's not been treated, it's always about your brain. It's always about having a dysregulated nervous system. And there are lots and lots of things that can cause this. One of the things is trauma. And there'll be many of you out there that'll be, well, I haven't got trauma, so that doesn't apply to me. But trauma comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes. There's the big obvious ones that we kind of all think of when we think of trauma that would cause PTSD and flashbacks and panic attacks. And these will be things like, you know, a horrendous accident, being attacked, being abused, those sorts of things. And they're obvious traumatic experiences where your body is going to go into overwhelm and just can't cope, shuts down, that sort of thing. There are lots of other more subtle traumas that probably all of us have in some sort of shape or form. And these are what can also dysregulate your nervous system. That can then cause pain, cause fatigue, cause digestive problems, all of these things. If you feel threatened, if your brain feels threatened and unsafe in any way, it will go into fight or flight. It will create a trauma response. So this can be stuff like when you're little being bullied at school. If you are bullied at school, you do not feel safe. If you are criticised at home a lot when you're growing up, you do not feel safe. If you think about it, what that tells you as a small child who doesn't have any outside influences and isn't able to analyse stuff and rationalise stuff, what that tells you as a child is that you're not worthy because you're being criticised all the time, and that you're probably not loved. And if you're not loved, then you're going to be rejected, you're going to be abandoned. And how much fear does that create within a child? You know, that is your everything, your safety net is on tentative hooks. And that is where you're at as a child. And that creates a trauma response within you. So there's lots of small things that we don't necessarily associate with trauma that actually have the same response. There's also things, if you think about it, trauma can happen at any point in your existence. So it can happen with any point in your adult life, any point in your childhood, any point at birth. You know, there are people I've worked with where they still have a response from actually being born, going from that warm, safe, quiet environment, suddenly being blasted out into this bright, noisy place where everyone's running around in chaos and frantic because it was quite a difficult labour. So that they have got that memory still. It's stored within their unconscious. Your unconscious mind stores and knows every single thing that's ever happened to you throughout your existence. You can have things within the womb. You know, there's this whereby people have had the umbilical cord wrapped around their neck and they still have a response from that. Or you can absorb emotions from people who are really close to you. So if you're in the womb and your mum is in stress, is feeling scared or guilty or whatever it is, they're creating all of these hormones within them, and you are baking and marinating in all of these stress hormones, and that becomes your baseline. So it's not even necessarily your trauma, but you're absorbing it. And the same goes for when you're little, when, you know, within the first 3 years or so of life, your energy is so closely tied to your mum's that whatever she's feeling, you're going to feel it as well. You're just going to absorb all of those emotions and absorb them. So this is why I think sometimes people can be like, well, I've been anxious all of my life. I don't know where this came from. But maybe it wasn't your anxiety to start with. Maybe you absorbed it. Maybe it's something that happened when you were in the womb. So you can't possibly remember it, you know, on a conscious level, but your subconscious knows everything. Also, it can be inherited. We know from epigenetics that trauma can be inherited from your parents, from your grandparents. Think of all the things that they've gone through within their lives. And that can be passed down through their genetic structure into yours. So you're holding all of that. It's really, really fascinating how it all works. And the more you look into it, the more fascinating it becomes. But don't discount the trauma aspect of it, because everybody's got it. We've all got it. And it's about identifying what that is and processing it. And you process that, you can help to regulate your nervous system, help to calm the pain down, help to bring your body back into balance and get back to that place of calm.